Alrighty guys, welcome into This Is Timed. In this video today, I just wanted to kind of talk about one of my favorite bands. I like music, but I like it to an extent where there's certain bands I like, but I don't naturally get into playing it anymore like I used to. I used to want to be in, a rock band and all that, or some sort of really awesome metal band, and the dream never became true. So I just decided to do other stuff with my life. But this band particularly, you've seen me recently get a tattoo of them. Um, I have it pulled up, so let me pull it up for you guys. So if you remember this, I posted this around Easter. Now, this is called a death bat. Okay, so what this is a symbol of is how long I've been listening to this band and how much I absolutely love this band. And as you can see, I've been using the at the bottom here, the name of the song I used for this, I'm not playing because of copyright purposes, is Welcome to the Family. I felt like it connected good with the tattoo I got here, and it has healed extremely well. So, with that said, how long have I actually been listening to this band? I've been listening to this band since 2005, okay? And the song that really, really hit home for me is a song that actually is on my list here. Um, so we'll talk about that in a minute, but let me show you the song that really, really led me into these guys, and it was the main key factor of how much I actually like this band. All right, so I wanted to talk about this because mainly this way because YouTube was going to copyright strike me for visually showing you even the video. YouTube's gotten really strict. But this video right here, particularly by Avenged Sevenfold, really got me into this band. The song "A Beast and a Harlot," the music video itself had a really cool. It was like a theatrical movie to it, and on top of it, the lyrics for the song are very, very much like what you read in Revelations. I never realized that when I was a young guy, but I like this video a lot for a lot of reasons, and this is what actually dragged me into the band. You just saw how cool the band was, and you saw how really well written their music was at the time. And when I saw this, I was like, this is the band that's pretty awesome. This is going to be one of my favorite bands. Alright, so now we're going to go into a top 10 list of what songs I like and what albums they're from. And I made this particularly based on how I feel about the song, not basically anything that really, really stood out to me. There might be things in here that really, really do stand out to me and hit home for me, but just this is just a list of songs I really, really like from this band, and it's to show you how much I actually am a fan of this band. So we start with number 10, which is the song Mattel. Now, the song Mattel actually came from their very last release in 2003, um, in June. So this album literally almost released like 2 years ago in June, and it's actually a really, really good song. It basically, for me, when I listen to the song, it describes the idea of how fake society actually is as a whole, and how we're pretty much like, you know, figurines, or we're pretty much built like Barbies, where or some people are just built like Barbies where they wake up every single day and they're in the same running process. And it's just kind of like a song that when I listen to it, that's the meaning of it that I get from it. So we're gonna go into the next one now. Um, Carry On. It actually was featured in it was it wasn't from this album actually. It was from the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 game, which they actually are really, really big in gaming. I can show you a lot of their I can they have a couple songs that are in the Call of Duty trilogy. And another one of my favorite songs is from that same album. So, Carry On, it just tells the story of how it tells the story, sorry, it tells the story about how it just gives you an idea, an example of the story in the game pretty much, I want to say. That's kind of what I listen that's kind of what I get what I when I hear this particular song from the Call of Duty games. Now, Avenged Sevenfold were in quite a few games. If you look at their history, they were in Call of Duty, of course. They were in I think they were in a football game. I know they were in Burnout, the one Burnout game, which the song also is on this. They were also in Guitar Hero. So we were in a good portion of games, and when you use a band like this for gaming, it's gonna sound really cool regardless, and it's gonna get you pumped up for the video game. Now, number 8 is Unholy Confessions. Now, this this whole album came out way before a few years before, like 2 years before I started listening to this band. And I really love the beginning of this song. It's from the album Wake in the Fallen. I really love the opening to this song, and I feel like you could take that opening and just put that to any video and edit it over top of the video, and it'd just be a really awesome video regardless of what's going on in the video. Um, but I really like the song. It is one of my favorites. It's number 8. And this album in general, it was before the main headline album that came out that they are actually known for. Now, I actually went into their backlog, and there's an album I didn't mention a song from on the out of the top 10 list here that actually does exist, and that is Sounding a Seven Trumpet, and that came out way before this, and you can just hear the and as you listen to each individual song from this band, you really hear how they grew and progressed and changed over the course of time, but also stayed at their roots. And Unholy Confessions is one of those songs that aged very, very well, no matter how old that song is. And there's just something about the way that song is built that was amazing at that time. So that's why this is on the list. All right, and MIA. MIA is from the City of Evil, and that is number 7. MIA is really good. It tells the story of a veteran who's been through hell in a war. He comes home and he has a bit of PTSD and explains what he sees during the war. It's a very, very good story about, what would happen if a soldier went to war and what he would experience and all that. So that is why I like this. I also like the way it's played. I love it lyrically, and I love the way it's played. And in fact, all these songs on this list you're going to learn I love it lyrically and I love the way it's played. And there's two combinations in songs that need to exist: good lyrics and good music at the same time. So, so this was supposed to be Simulation, or no? This is okay. So, Goddamn is another song I like how it's played. I like what it talks about. And if you listen to the Bible or you've read the Bible, you can see some incidences in there about this kind of correlating back to something the Bible says, and thus it playing out in modern day times, where he's like, God nation, God damned. Uh, he speaks about the flag, the American flag at one point, and how it's pretty much non-existent, and some wild stuff. And some of their songs, I will say, I feel like they've predicted where we are today. It's kind of creepy, but it's really, really awesome. And I think the reason that is because the name itself is based around a biblical name, Avenged Sevenfold, meaning there's in Revelations they speak of the sevenfold spirit, which is the spirit I want to say I think of Jesus Christ. So that's why this band has predicted a lot of stuff and just is really, really great to listen to. And you gotta look at it as connection with the Bible. Okay, so now the next song is St. James, another correlation back to our Bible and the story of St. James and how he just kind of betrayed Jesus Christ. And it's very, very good also because I think it matches back with the beer itself, St. James, and how it became about. But this album here was really good. This was when I kind of started. I still liked them, but I wasn't getting into music as much. My head was just kind of in the wrong place, and I kind of just fell away with it. So there's an album in between this and Life Is But a Dream that came out that I missed, and I heard it recently, and I just thought it was great. But this album here was my last album I heard before Life Is But a Dream because I had too many people forcing really crappy music onto me, and I refound Avenged Sevenfold like a couple months ago and been back into their music, listened to all their albums, and that's why I made this list. So St. James is really, really good in general. I love the story it tells, and I just, again, music and lyrics are what make a song great. If you are in a band and you want me to listen to, make good music, make the lyrics good too, and they have to equal out. Otherwise, might not be into your band as much. All right, and Simulation. Okay, so Simulation's very, very creepy song, but it also is a really awesome song. If you like Avenged Sevenfold in general knows how to have certain songs that are stories that are just really, really creepy, and there's some that are really, really over the top, with some things. But in reality, they're just poking fun at a certain subject or, singing about a certain subject. And this is something I really like the band about. They've been, they're like, okay, so let's just say you read the Bible, and it's all the dark parts of the Bible. That's what they would be. Um, so Simulation is really, really demented, and but really, really good. It talks just about how like people are so caught up in things, uh, like like it's more or less a story about how possibly the government rules over us and they can continue to beat us down until we break, or like how we don't see a past what the screen in front of us is, and we don't see a past that. We see what's in front, we see what's on the screen, and we judge what's on the screen. And there's a part in it where I really like that he says it, but he's like, you've been at the center of attention time and time again, and something about being beaten down. And it just, that whole thing sets well with me because I can relate to that. But I wasn't, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other people online that could relate to this song because I see people online, uh, so involved with their internet life and stuff like that. That's kind of what this is about. How something will have control over you, but you don't realize it until you get to a point where it gets really, really bad, and it gets to a point where it's just like you can't do anything anymore. It's controlled your life so much, and that's what the moral of the story is. And that's the best way to explain it. When you listen to it, give it a listen. All right, so this is the song that I told you about that really dragged me into this band. Again, June 2005 was a great year for music for me. It was one of the years that really, really set music in a good direction for me. And the reason I found out about these guys is because I had a band. I had not a band, but I had some friends introduce me to this band, and ever since that, I've this album here particularly. I don't know how many times I've listened to this album, but it's such a great piece of work. It aged like fine wine. It's so great. And if you have a chance to listen to the whole entire album, please do so. You're gonna see why this changed music, and nobody can really top this. This is the best album that they've ever made, in my opinion, and this is the top of the line. So this is why they're so comparable to Metallica kind of uh, album. But A Beast and a Harlot, again, it tells a story about how Babylon falls. And then we have Buried Alive. So this would be, I believe, song number two for me. So yes, song number two. All right. So Buried Alive's great. And let me explain why. It reminded me a lot of Stairway to Heaven at the beginning. How Stairway to Heaven is played really lightly and really, really slowly. And then this goes different though. This actually takes a different direction. And I love lyrically what Avenged Sevenfold has always done with their music. Um, it just basically picks up in layers. So like you'll go from a really slow pace to a slightly fast pace to a slightly faster pace. So the fastest pace is the song, and it just gives it a really awesome feeling. And this is one of those songs where I used to, when I was, if you go to the gym or something and you want to work out and you want to have a time song that helps you pick up speed by certain times, this right here, Buried Alive, would be the song that you could use. So I'm sure you guys are wondering what number one is for me, so let's go on to that. Number one is Not Ready to Die, and it's not on an album. It was actually for a Call of Duty game. Um, so Black Ops 2010 is when this came out. So it was for it was for the zombie side of the game. So if you are a Black Ops fan and a Call of Duty fan, I'm sure you've heard this in there. They've been in three different games, and they continue to do tracks for that game. So I'm looking forward to more music from them for this game. I'm not a fan of Call of Duty at all, but I do like the fact that they produce really good songs for that gaming trilogy. All right, so we're gonna look at remakes now from Avenged Sevenfold and who originally did the song. So my favorite remake of this song from Avenged Sevenfold is Walk. And originally Pantera made the song Walk. And they did a perfect remaster of that song. And I just wanted to that came out in Diamonds in the Rough. So if you have the Diamonds in the Rough album, you obviously have heard it. If not, go listen to it. You'll understand why the two songs are like perfect. They did a really good job of it. M Shadow can pull off some M Shadow can pull off some really good lyrics when he wants to. So and he matched the lead singer from Pantera like a T. Like he did the exact he almost has the exact voice to do it. So and last but not least, we get into my top two favorite albums. So for me, City of Evil. This was the very first album I ever heard by them. After that, I listened to their other stuff, but this album was really, really what made me like this band. Um, it particularly is going to be one of my favorite albums ever in history. 20 years later, listening to it, you just see how good it still sounds and how good of a job they did to this album. And 20 years later, who knows? We might get a remaster of it. I don't know yet, but Avenged Sevenfold hasn't said much about music as of lately. They're busy touring, so yeah, 20 years later after this album came out, that's kind of crazy. And the last one is the last album I really like is Diamonds in a Rough. So these are my two favorite albums I like by this band, and this one came out a day after my birthday back in 2008, which kind of like man, I kind of was it 2008? No, that don't seem right because I feel like I would have missed it. Hmm, that don't seem right. Let me see if I can do another search. Did I miss this album? Right. Okay, so it was an album that released with the DVD. Oh no, I just feel like this came out a different time now. But a Diamond in the Rough. Yeah, okay. So Diamond in the Rough 2020 by Avenged Sevenfold. Why up top? Okay, these this is wrong. The whole album, Diamond in the Rough, came out by Avenged Sevenfold in 2020. This is an album I missed between the album Stage and Life is But a Dream. And I went back and heard this album, and I really, really like this is my second favorite standalone album by them. And this is just how much I've liked this band and how long I've liked this band. And, back in 2005 when I listened to them, didn't think I'd be listening to, I didn't think I'd come back. I didn't think I'd stop listening to him and then come back to him later on. And it was a time in my life where I could have used good music, but everybody around me was so busy forcing me to listen to other forms of music that like right now I'm very picky about my music now, and this is the one band this is my go-to band of when I'm having a really bad day, or if I just want to listen to a good song, or if just in general. And the reason I like it so much is because there's something about the lyrics that don't exactly make you feel a certain way. And the band in general, if you even in the name, you can see that they're not. I guess you want to say they're a Christian band, but they haven't really mentioned that. I know them as metal. So, all right. All right. So that was a little bit of a long video, but I needed to make that. I wanted you guys to see how much of a fan I am of this band and how much the band itself has really, really been a part of my life. And even when the time periods I wasn't listening to them, coming back to them and listening to them after around the time I was reading the Bible and all that, or listening to the Bible, it really, really set the premise of why I like that band so much, and why the band would doesn't really make a person feel doesn't really hit in the feelings. It more or less, I don't know. The band itself is just one of my favorite bands, and they've done a lot of great albums and great songs. So as you can see, that's why I like this band a lot, and that's why you will see me post stuff up like sometimes related to them, or sometimes with shorts with music in them. But I think that's where I'm going to call this. If you like this, um, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back and again shortly with another video. So, all right, take it easy.